Clinton, and this is the Words of Mine podcast. I'm so glad you're here. Today is the end of the world. Rapture. Jesus is coming for his people. We are all going to heaven. Yay! Us Christians, we've been good our whole lives. This has been what we have been fighting for this whole time. This is what we've been on earth for. We've been on earth to see the goodness of God. And God is finally here. And to those of you who are still on earth the day this podcast comes out, sorry, y'all are not raptured. Rapture 2025 came and it's over. Y'all have to stay on earth now and fight for your place in heaven. Because us Christians, we literally spent our whole lives following the Bible, doing what's right. And now we reap the rewards of being good Christians. That has been the sentiment I have heard on the internet for the last couple of days. On Sunday, I saw a video of someone talking about Rapture 2025. And I was like, okay. And it was of this video. I swear I thought this was a joke. But it was of this video of this woman saying, when the rapture comes, because the rapture is September 23rd and 24th. When it comes, try as much as possible not to look down. Just let yourself go up. Because we know what happened to Lot's wife. For those who are not Christians and you're listening to this podcast, Lot's wife looked back, and she turned to a pillar of salt. So that was her advice. And then I saw a video of a guy selling his car. And then I saw a video of a woman saying her kid is speaking in Hebrew or some ancient Christian language. And I was like, okay, it might be really happening. I'm Christian, so hopefully I go to heaven. But if I don't, I'm happy to be here. I want to fight for my spot in heaven. Today's podcast is me trying my possible best to understand these people's brainwave and why they thought the way they thought for the last couple of months. Because it was predicted last month, I think. I don't know when it was predicted, but so it started in South Africa from all of the TikToks I've seen. And this prophet or pastor said God, okay, came to him in a dream. I'm not joking. It's so funny. You're laughing. Came to him in a dream and told him the rapture is coming on the 23rd and 24th. So God is not even specific. God is like, I might come on this day or that day. I really don't know. God is not specific. That's the number one red flag that these Christians would have listened to. And he should get people ready. So this woman or this person emailed her work email and said, I know this is out of the ordinary, but give your souls to God, because in a couple days, the world is going to end. Rapture 2025. I swear you think I'm joking. Go search everything up yourself. And I saw people prepping for the rapture. I have a few questions in this podcast episode. And I think any person a working brain would have these questions as well. I think I'm Christian. I respect people's rights to religion. Number one, if you thought you were going to be raptured, why do you think your physical body was going to go up there? It's your spirit that is going up there. Your body is going to stay on earth. If it were to happen, you would collapse and your spirits leave your body. Second, there are a lot of people who are making posters for friends and family, and there are a lot of people who are giving things away. And there were a lot of people who were selling things. And if those people really believed that the world was about to end and this was the last days, and you knew, oh, after today, none of these people can give their life to Christ again, would you not make it your final mission to say every single thing you possibly can say to convince the whole world about the coming of Christ? I think at the back of most Christians' minds, they don't truly believe what they say they believe. And I can say this because I'm Christian. I think it has been a cushion for a lot of things in their lives, and going with the flow is what they could possibly do. There was a lady who made a video and she said to her kid, "Oh, have fun at school. Today the rapture might happen. Don't worry. If the rapture happens indeed, I'll meet you in heaven." I'm like, if the rapture is actually happening, why would you take your child to school? If you actually believe the rapture is going to happen, would you let your child go to school? Nobody would do that. And to the people who were selling their stuff, if you actually thought the rapture is coming, why would you sell this stuff? Why would you not give the stuff away to other people? Because no matter what happens, all of the money you used to spend, all the money you like gained from like what you sold, you will never get it back. Because if you expect yourself not to be on earth the next day or today at the end of like the 24th, why do you need to like exchange goods and service? Why do you need to like get paid for your old item or your old material? Why do you need to get paid if you knew you were going to heaven? If you are in heaven, there's no need for you to make money from people who are on earth, because that money is not going to them. It's so strange. I feel a lot of Christians follow it because and I don't have this fully thought out. I just want to release an episode this week because I did not have anything on my mind. I was not going to mention this. But yeah, Rapture 2025. Today is the 24th, by the way, and nothing seems to be happening. This podcast is coming out tomorrow on the 25th. So if you're still here, say hello. And if you're listening to this podcast episode in the future, yes, indeed, people thought the world was going to end and Jesus was going to come back soon. And I don't have enough information to talk about Christianity yet. I've been Christian my whole life, but I've not been like a real Christian. I've been a churchgoer my whole life. So I'm reading the Bible, and not yet. I'm gonna say I'm reading the Bible, but I want to like I have the intentions to read the Bible and dive into religion, because my like thoughts of religion right now is that everything is fictional and Jesus was a fictional character. Sorry. And if there is a God, I don't think God has like the power to like create things. I think God would be a rule balancer, like Mother Nature. Who knows? Yeah, that's all my thoughts on Rapture 2025. And I've seen a lot of people who I truly can't, unless I like have a conversation with somebody who like believes that the world is actually gonna end. I truly don't believe that even the Christians who were like coming on the internet or going on TikTok and like proclaiming the fact that the world is gonna end, I truly don't believe they actually believed it. Like, if you prodded that narrative, like if gun to their head, if you asked them, did they think the world was gonna actually end? I think they would have said no, because I think that's how fragile most Christians' fates are. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. Um, it's sad that we have to like create chaos, because this is chaos, for this whole ordeal. Yeah. I finally read The Animal Farm by George Orwell. It's a really good book. I hate the pigs in that book. I'm so glad I'm vegetarian, but if I was not vegetarian, I would have stopped eating pigs. And if I, I was saying this to myself, if I was not, if I read The Animal Farm when I was a child, I would have believed that animals talk to themselves when humans are away, and I would have because I was scared of animals growing up my whole life. I was scared of like cats, dogs, chickens, birds, you name it. I was scared of every single animal. I was even scared of like mascots and like adults. I was scared of a lot of things as a child. So I think if I had read that book when I was a child, I would have died already. Yeah, to the people who are like listening to the audio, there you might not see this, but if you're watching the video, you see my eyes are like moving so many times up. I have one single fly, and I'm just hoping it's not on my frame. Okay, this is the shortest podcast so far. I'm so glad I did not have anything for this week. I was going to talk about the video I saw like a couple months ago, maybe a year now, and this video was like of this woman who came on the internet, and this is just gonna be my brief thought about this topic because the time is like too short to like end the podcast. But this woman was married to her husband for like 20 years, and then one day he left her. She said they stopped having like sex when like 2 years before he left her, and then she realized that he was cheating on her with a man. And I'm not homophobic. Sorry, I'm not. But the problem I have is the fact that, and I said oh no, the fly is here. Leave me alone. Okay, good. The problem I said on my TikTok, because I made a TikTok about on the West Man podcast. I made a TikTok about it. Why men who are like gay would like form heterosexual relationship with women, and I was like why would you put that woman through that like whole issue? And this week I saw a video of a woman saying if you pass like 40, like it's really difficult to like get into a relationship. And my whole thesis was like, oh, that man like stole that woman's like time. And recently I've been thinking about like time as in time to get into a relationship, because I believe I don't know, I just had this belief that after like 20 something, or like after your 30s, it's really hard to like get into a relationship. And I've like been giving myself like a time, like I've given myself like a time limit to get into a relationship. Also, I released I'm going everywhere because this is not like part of the topic. This is just like a filler. But like I started a TikTok series called Food for Thought, and my first topic was um the pursuit of looks, and I was talking about why people, if you want to see, that's on my personal TikTok. It's not linked here, just if you stumble onto it, you stumble onto it. And if you don't, just type the pursuit of looks and you see what I said about the pursuit of looks. Um but my main thesis there was like, I don't think we should like take looks as like pivotal as we do right now. I think we should like think of how that person makes us feel at the end of the day. And if you only think about the way the person looks, what if you wake up to like an angel that makes you feel that acts like a demon suddenly, like not suddenly, but you always saw this person as an angel, but now with all of the information you have gathered from like the last couple of years you guys have been together, now you see that person as the killer or the demon. And I was just like, I see why people like get married to ugly people now. And that's exactly what I said. I said I get why people get married to ugly people now. And my last thought from that, and I did not have this on my TikTok, but I said on the draft, I said if you watch the Summer Tom Pretty, like the from the first season to the last season, you see Jeremiah and Comrade, and they're this really good looking people. But as the series goes on, as you get to know these people as these characters, they turn ugly, like in a very strange way. You the feeling you had when you had no information about these characters, and the feelings you get when you see how Comrade like sabotages his brother, or how Jeremiah acts the first time he finds out like Comrade and like Isabella were together, is very weird. At the end of the day, I was like, I was team, like I didn't like I did not like the ending, because I thought at the end she was never going to like end up with like any of the brothers. I thought she was gonna like go off and like become her own person, because the show has like in a way predicted her future so much that I thought, oh, they're gonna like give us a good ending, but they did a very stereotypical ending. um I did not like the ending at all, because I was like, I get it, but what would happen, what is going to happen, like how would this end up in the next 4 years, or like in the next 20 years? Do you see yourself actually being with this person if this relationship has been like this for the last, somebody Tom Pretty, if the timeline is too long, 6 years? um yeah, and that was my main concern. And back to the woman who found out her husband was like a homosexual. um I really had a problem with it, because I was like, oh, he stole her time. Like if he had told her, because she was like unaware of his sexuality for the longest time. I was like, if he had told her and maybe she agreed to get married to him, then she would have known at the back of her mind. But no, she said she was happy for like the first 15 years of her marriage, and then suddenly her husband like switched, and she did not know what happened. She like thought she was the problem. She thought she did something wrong. She thought, oh, did she like gain too much weight from like her babies, or is she not like stimulating him in like the right ways, or what? Like she thought there was something wrong with her, but like there was nothing wrong with her from like the beginning. It was, in my opinion, his fault for plaguing her mind, because I think when you are in a relationship with someone and they were entranced by you for 15 years, and suddenly that person stops, like what's it called, showing you affection, I think it will play at the back of my mind like you're the problem. But I think it's the man's problem. Yeah, I do think it's the man's problem. But also, I really like the Animal Farm. I gave the Animal Farm. I don't really care about like book ratings, but I gave the Animal Farm, the book, 4 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. I never write like reviews on Goodreads, because I'm too lazy to write good reviews on Goodreads. But I wrote an article this week for Substack. I know I said I was gonna really I said it so much. I need to like get if Substack like schedule going on. But I knew I said I was gonna release last week's like story on Substack, but I don't think I can. But I'm going to release this week's write up on Substack hopefully by the end of next week. I think there's still things I need to like prod and like think of before I like release it to the world, because it's a very intimate like topic. I think the topic of like, because I spoke about, it's all about aloneness. Last year I spoke about aloneness, and my overarching theme of like the podcast last year was like, if I enjoy my company a lot and I have never felt lonely when I'm by myself, but like the Substack that's coming out next week is called Alone and Lonely, and that's like encompassing, I can't remember the subtitle. I think it's Alone and Lonely, a plaguing disease. I can't remember the subtitle, but that's all. I think it's like 2,000 words so far, and I want to go like try and like push myself and like write a 4,000 word Substack. And I've been trying to like look for like references, but like all the references I've like drawn from are my experiences, and I want to like draw from like other people's experiences that I have like read or like seen. And I think I'm gonna read the perfume again, the book, because I think that book like is the essence of loneliness and aloneness. Because if you have not read the book Perfume, it starts with this character that was given birth, like he was born in like a fish market, and he had no smell, but he could create like the most beautiful like perfumes in the world. And as humans, we all have smell, but we can't smell ourselves. But because he has no scent of his own, most people think there's something wrong with him. He can like exist without a smell, but he learned how to he can exist, and because he has no smell, he's like invisible to most people. And then in the book, at the end, he gets killed because he creates like the most beautiful scent, and that scent is like a very godly scent, and like people wanted to worship him. He killed like the what's it called, the rich man's kid, but the rich man forgave him because he had the perfume he created that makes him like a god. And like because he's a god and he used a lot of that perfume, everybody wanted a piece of him, and they like consumed him at the end. And that's, I think, even when he like, because I'm like my like thesis of from the like the Substack next week is like I get aloneness because I enjoy my alone time, but like loneliness is very different from aloneness, because I think you can be surrounded by people but still feel lonely. And that's like the narrative I'm like trying to like work on from this weekend, and hopefully the Substack will be out next week sometime. Who knows? Okay. I think that's all I have for this week. The Christians are crazy again. I'm a Christian, so I can say that. The book I finally read, the Animal Farm by George Orwell, and the Substack. And I'm a misandrist. I'm finally saying it out loud. My TikTok says I'm a misandrist. I'm finally saying it out loud. I'm finally saying it out loud. To all of you who don't want to be misandrists, I am the first male misandrist. Okay, goodbye. I'll speak to you next week.